Hey guys, welcome to the GTOger channel. Hopefully everything's going well for you. I certainly hope that it is. Over here, it's still a little bit strange. As you can see, I'm home. I don't really have a good home studio setup. This isn't normally what I do. So as long as we're here and we've got some spare time, I thought I'd go through some of the questions that you guys have for the channel. The other thing that I thought that I would do is just sort of give you an update on what I have been up to. I have not been going to work as regularly as I normally would due to the quarantine. We're working single-person shifts right now, so we're only having really the essential people in the office, which are the data center and network operations technicians. I'm one of those people, and right now I'm only going in a few days a week. So in regular times, I volunteer on the audiovisual team at my church, and there are a few of us who not only do all of the regular Sunday things that are involved in operating at a church, but also the Sunday evening youth activities. We've got a great youth band and youth leadership, and they do a fantastic job. And since we haven't been able to get together like we normally would, one of the youth directors put together a lip sync video challenge. The AV team came up with a response to that, and of course, yours truly had to get in on some video editing for that. So we did a really cheesy one-take version of Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. We did the full video. 5 of us sort of got together. These are the same 5 people who've been getting together every Sunday for the last 6 weeks or so while the coronavirus protocols are in place and we're social distancing and all that kind of stuff. So anyhow, there's that famous scene where it's everybody all together. We actually shot that so that we wouldn't all be crushed together. We shot that in 4 different takes, and then I stitched the heads together. If you'd like to take a look at the videos that we did, I'm going to link them down here. I can't put them on the regular channel because of copyright issues. We've got that handled on an alternate channel. So if you'd like to see that, I'm going to link it up for you. And if nothing else, maybe you'll be entertained by me and my friends. You've actually met a couple of these people before. You've met Rebecca. She has helped me with some of the videos in the past. And you have met Jim, but you might not know that you know Jim. He was Bill Clinton in the April Fool's video a couple of years ago. So if you want to take a look at that, I'm sure you'll get a giggle out of it and you'll say, oh my goodness, I can't believe these are grown people. So let's start out. Joe Scalise wants to know, when you started, did you think your videos would be a big hit? I'm sure when you saw the scooters, you had a lot of sound effects to pick from. What made you pick the Jetsons, which is perfect? Okay, so you had 2 questions. When I started, did I think the videos would be a big hit? No, I did not at all. What made me pick the Jetsons sound? I don't know. The scooters just seem natural for it, don't they? Robert wants to know, are you still enjoying putting up videos, or is it turning into another job that takes you away from the family? Really good question there, Robert. I really do enjoy putting the videos together. It's something creative for me to do. I really like it. Most of all, I really like the community that we've formed in the comments section here. As with any comment section, sometimes things get a little distasteful. Sometimes things go a little bit off the rails. But for the most part, my goodness, I really enjoy just sort of seeing the creativity that you guys come up with in response to some of these videos. So do I still enjoy putting together the videos? Yes. And between you and me, sometimes I make myself laugh when I'm editing something and I come up with an idea and I'm like, okay, it's just perfect. That's just me. Does it take away from my family? Is it turning into another job? Yeah, so that's the other side of it. I think anytime that you start moving something from a hobby into something that you are doing to make some income, you do have to treat it a little bit differently, and I do treat it differently now. I try to make sure that I'm maintaining a release schedule and just sort of trying to keep everything running so that you guys stay interested and have something to look at, even if we don't have a tow truck around right now. Callie wants to know, exactly how often does your parking lot get used as a bathroom in peak season? Well, it all depends. I don't have a numerical answer for you, like, well, 7 times or 30% of the time. It happens a lot if there's a big event. Most days the parking lot gets by unscathed, but maybe 2 days out of the week when there's something big going on in the neighborhood, yeah, we'll see some pretty unsavory traffic. All right, Angel wants to know, have there been situations where the wrong car was towed? Yes. Yes, there have been situations. Not many, but there have been situations. One time, the tow truck came and there were 2 cars in the lot that looked pretty similar. One was an employee's car, and the other was a car that belonged to a bandit. The tow truck came and picked up the wrong car and just about got away with it. The employee saw what was happening on camera and ran out after and waved him off. Don't tow my truck, bro. There was another time we had authorized somebody to park in the lot who normally doesn't come on site. That all worked out just fine until they came and parked and decided that they were going to go do something else first before coming back and doing what they needed to do. So unfortunately, their car wound up getting towed while they were away. We did call the tow truck company, and in that case made arrangements for that person to go and retrieve the car at no cost. It was an honest mistake. It happens. Next question. If the Jetsons sound effect wasn't available, what was your plan B sound? Man, I don't know. It just seemed like the perfect sound, so that's kind of what we went with. I didn't really have a plan B. What would you have used if not the Jetson sound? Put in the comment section. What sound effect would you use? Maybe it's better. Maybe I'll use that in the future. Zach Whitaker wants to know, who watches the security cameras to see if a car needs to be towed? Do you guys have a dedicated camera watcher? No, we do not. This is a question that I try to answer in the video descriptions that we put down here. The cameras are up in the tech room pretty much 24/7, and there is somebody that kind of has an eyeball on them at any given time. Right now, we are down to 1 person per shift, and that person can't always be sitting there with eyes glued to the security cameras. Sometimes they're going to be out in the server room or taking care of a mechanical issue or a server issue they got to put their hands on, or maybe just working out some sort of issue on their workstation. So it's not like we have somebody who is dedicated with their eyes glued to the security cameras all the time. Fantech0104 says, what is the one day of the week where a lot of the craziness you see happens the most? Thursday? Eric Johansson wants to know, if God exists and he revealed themselves, would people who believe in God actually accept God as God? As a person who believes in God, if a guy walked up to me and says, hey, I'm your God, I'm probably not going to believe that, no. Now we're getting on to a name that I don't know how to say. I'm sure you'll all beat me up in the comments section for it. Bamba Metji wants to know, ever been towed yourself? Yes and no. I have been towed myself plenty of times. I even live streamed when I had a breakdown and I was waiting for a tow truck to come get me. Have I ever been towed without my permission? No. I've always been pretty careful about where I have parked. Abe Lincoln, Honest Abe, wants to know, why don't you rent out spots that are not needed by employees? Assumption of liability, or it's just not worth the hassle? Okay, here's another question that I try to answer down in the video description on all of the tow videos. It's not just a matter of the employees. For those of you who don't know, we are a mission-critical cloud hosting facility. We're a data center. We have customers that have equipment on the inside of the facility. It's their equipment. They maintain it. they may need access to that equipment at any time of day or night. Typically, customers like to plan their scheduled maintenance around the overnight hours, so they're not causing an outage for their business users. But if there's an emergency, people can show up at any time. Some of the companies that host their equipment in our facility, they might have half a dozen or more techs that need to be on site for a given process. We only have 7 or 8 parking spots out back. If 2 or 3 of those parking spots are taken, and we have even one customer with a lot of techs that show up all in their own vehicles, that's going to present a problem. So no, we just can't afford to say, take $100 for a parking spot when we've got customers that might be paying thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to the company, and they would be extremely upset if they were not able to park when they needed to. Edward V. I'm guessing that's Edward V. Maybe you're Edward V. I don't know. Why can't you add sound to that outside camera? Which outside camera are you asking about? I think we have about 30 of them. We did add microphones to a couple of the cameras at one point, and unfortunately what we found is the cameras are just not of a very high quality. It's a noisy environment. We have chilling units, air conditioning units, all sorts of pumps, and even the generator that are making noise from time to time. When you factor in the sort of traffic noise from the freeways that are nearby, you really can't pick up any conversation. And what you can pick up, it's just the noise is so high, you can't really understand what's going on. It didn't really matter because after it rained a few times, those microphones got shorted out and they don't work anymore. So it's kind of worthless. So no, unless something dramatic happens, we won't have any microphones on those cameras. Steve wants to know, how often are these tows taking place? Every day, just weekends, once a month? What is the frequency? Steve, it really depends on what's going on around the neighborhood at any given time. Thursdays seem to be a big day when there's a lot of local sort of traffic. Fridays, Saturdays seems to be the days when out-of-town acts come and play at the Bomb Factory or Canton Hall or Trees or Club Dada or one of the places that's around that's a big concert venue. How often are these tows taking place? It's not every day. It's usually around the weekends. And I would say on average, we get 1 or 2 a week. Big Mac Sam wants to know, where do you get your special sound effects? Also, I would like to use drum beats someday in one of my future videos. You don't mind, do you? So all of my sound effects pretty much come off of YouTube. YouTube has an audio library that is available for creators. They have a lot of music. That's where I get my copyright-free music. That is also where I obtain a lot of the sound effects that we use in the videos. Can you use drum beats in one of your videos? Absolutely. I don't own it. I didn't create it. It's available for anybody to use right out of the YouTube audio library. So go have a look, have a listen, find something you like. 13 Echo 20 wants to know, how long does it take to edit a video for release? It takes a lot longer than you might think. Embarrassingly long in some cases. I could spend a month editing a video and still not feel like I'm done with it. I haven't gotten there yet, but it certainly could happen. Most of the time, I'll spend 3 hours at a minimum on a video. In some cases, it might be up to 10 plus hours that I'm spending on putting together a video. I did one recently that was about 15 minutes long. That's a monster video in terms of what I usually do. And it is very editing intensive. It's not like this where I'm just talking to a camera and then hitting send. But you know, George Lucas would still be editing Star Wars right now if he had the opportunity. And I'm sure he probably is somewhere in a back room of his house. Cheryl wants to know, do the tow truck drivers ever hit any cars? Do they damage cars during the show? No, I've never seen a tow truck hit another car. I am not personally aware of damage that they have done to any cars during a tow. I know there have certainly been plenty of keyboard commandos that have launched in the comments section and let us know how bad a job the tow truck is doing and how terrible the damage is that they're doing. I've had one incident where an owner of a vehicle called to complain that their vehicle had been damaged during a tow, and they demanded to have the video in order to sue the tow truck company. I said, sure thing, you can have that video. It's right on YouTube. In fact, give me your email. I'll send you the link. Nobody heard from them again. And in sort of a related question, Boxy Brown wants to know, a lot of things. Has the towing company ever asked you to remove or edit a video? Are the tow drivers aware of the amount of viewers who will watch their actions? Has this resulted in any strife between your company and the towing company? Has the towing company ever asked you to remove or edit a video? No, we've never been asked to remove or edit a video. Are the tow drivers aware of the amount of viewers who will watch their actions? I think some are and some are not. Some of you might remember in a recent video, one of the operators hopped out of the truck and did a little sexy dance for us. We put that up on there, and I'm sure everybody got a big kick out of that one. If he's got kids, I'm sure they think that's fantastic. Has this resulted in any strife between your company and the towing company? No, we get along just fine. Anytime one of us have to make a phone call to the towing company, they always seem quite pleased to hear from us. Can't imagine why. All right, who's got this next question? Carabal? Don't know. Why don't the car fell off from the tow truck? How does this work? Best regards from Sweden. Well, Carabal or Carabal or whoever you are, I'm not going to make fun of your syntax because your English is far better than my Swedish. The best answer I have for you is gravity. Gravity is typically going to work pretty well and keep that car glued to the lift. Next question. Will you be able to share more of the neat autos at home? Yes, I think we will. In fact, I think we're going to need some content coming up, and I'm fortunate enough to have a fantastic wife who indulges my old car hobby. I have a handful of old cars, and some of you have seen them in the videos and made comments on them and asked questions. So I think what we'll do is probably take you guys and go take a look at some of these cars. In fact, I have the first one picked out. I think you're going to enjoy it. And on to the next question. Not sure if this has been answered before or not, but how exactly does the tow truck driver know if the vehicle belongs to one of your customers? I know they have to check in with you when they get there, but I still don't get how the towing companies know that. Okay, I think what you're alluding to is we have customers that come visit us and visit their equipment, more importantly, and they will check in with the on-site tech who is on duty when they are operating in the server room. But how do the tow trucks know that these guys are there? Well, the tow trucks really don't. There's no magic sauce that they have that lets them determine, oh, this is a customer car, this is not a customer car. So what will happen is if one of our techs sees a bogey or a bandit out in the parking lot, their standing instructions are to call that in for a tow. If it's not authorized to be in the parking lot, it's got to go. Sorry. Now, if the tow truck does happen to swing by and they see a car in the parking lot that they don't personally recognize, they can always give us a shout, and the tech on duty will be able to tell them that person is either authorized to park there or no, that vehicle is not authorized to be there and it needs to be removed. I hope that answers the question. Chili Willy wants to know, what is the reason or what happened to make the pedal bar bike thingy so annoying to you? I don't know, man. I just think it's annoying. It's stupid. I've put these things in videos before, so I think you're probably familiar with it. I think it's called a party bike. I don't care what it's called. It's always going to be the dumb, stupid party, dumb bike, bus, bar, beer thing. I really don't care. You pay 45 bucks, you hop on the thing, and you pedal it around while you drink beer. I could think of less productive ways to drink my beer, and those are probably the ways that I will choose. Lacked Puppet 902 wants to know, would you ever consider 24/7 live streaming the camera like the virtual railfan people do? Also, could we ever get a tour of the office / meet the team as a special episode? Two really good questions there. And the answer to both is unfortunately no. We are not going to be doing any 24/7 live feeds. It's a company thing. We've had this conversation in management meetings before, and it's just it's something that's got far more objections than it does positive things going for it for the company. So that's a no. The good news on that is, fortunately, you're not missing out on anything. Most of the time, the parking lot is a pretty boring place to be. It's, maybe these few minutes out of an entire week that actually make it into a video. And since those are the videos that are getting posted online, I certainly understand how the perception is, my goodness, stuff must be happening here all the time. It must be constant, nonstop zaniness. Really, it's not. Most of the time, it's just a empty parking lot, or it's a parking lot with authorized vehicles in it. It's just not that exciting. So you're not missing out on anything. Can we ever get a tour of the office or meet the team? I love the people that I work with, and I like where I work. But unfortunately, no, we're not going to do that either. There are certain security issues at play on why we don't take a tour through the entire building. I've done videos before inside the building, and you have seen different little shots of it. The other issue is not all of my coworkers are all that excited about being on YouTube. If you've been a viewer of this channel for some time, you've probably seen, half a dozen of us on the security cameras that make it into the videos that you see. But there are also a handful of the folks who work with me who have requested specifically they just never want to be on one of these YouTube videos. And I get that. I respect that. So probably for that reason, we're just going to leave that as a no. Terry wants to know, have you approached the towing company about putting a camera on a truck to show an impounded car's journey after the parking lot? Yeah, I've had this conversation with a couple of the folks over at the towing company, and it's been a management issue on their end where at this point they have declined to do that. But I have actually had a couple of conversations with some of the drivers, and maybe at some point, I can't make any promises, but hopefully at some point, maybe we can hop in a truck with one or two of these tow truck drivers and kind of see what things are like from their perspective. But in terms of getting video footage of what happens at the impound yard, unfortunately, that's a no-go. Some of you guys have asked before about a Patreon page, and do I have a Patreon, or will I make a Patreon, or you would like to support me on Patreon? I really appreciate the thought that you put into that, and the fact that you would want to support me and the videos that I make. I'm very touched by that, and thank you. You have my undying gratitude on that. But no, I'm not going to do a Patreon. And there's one main reason why I am not. I've given this some thought. The videos that I make rely on content that is outside my control. There are a lot of very creative and talented YouTubers who are coming up with ideas, and they are producing videos and content for you to watch, and I think that's fantastic. Just the nature of the videos that I do, I'm relying on things that I cannot control. I can't come up with a great idea for a car to tow and then have that happen. if I was to start staging things, I think you would know it. It would come off as pretty artificial. And frankly, it's just not something that I'm too interested in doing. And honestly, I just don't feel right about taking your money every month and not being able to guarantee you anything in return. So no, I'm not going to do a Patreon. You guys have asked about ways to support the channel. Like a lot of other YouTubers, the income that I make on the videos comes pretty exclusively from the revenue that they generate from advertising. So the more you watch and the more that you share and comment and like and subscribe and do all those things that all the YouTubers tell you to do, believe it or not, that really does make an impact on the success of the channel. Now, I happen to be wearing some merch. It's a low-key plug for the merch. I never thought that I would be in the t-shirt business, but then again, I never thought I would be in the tow truck video business. So a lot of you have asked for merch and t-shirts and hats and stuff like that. So I have some of that that I try to link in all of the videos. I will put a link in the video description for that. If you're interested and anything strikes your fancy, I make a few bucks off of that, and shoot, that's pretty cool. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I think I have, and I hope that I've answered some questions that maybe you have had. If you've got any other questions that have just been burning on your mind, hit me up on the social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and of course you can hit me up in the comment section here on the YouTubes. So I'd certainly love to hear from you. And until the next time, park safe.